Starting today, China's borders have now reopened to tourists following a 3-year shutdown due to the pandemic. It's one of the last major countries to do so, and China also resumed issuing all visas today. Well, China is trying to boost its tourism sector and the economy as a whole. And for more on this, we're joined by Thomas Tenkate. He's an associate professor with the School of Occupational and Public Health at Toronto Metropolitan University. Thank you very much for taking time to speak with us this afternoon. So let's just get right to it. The health and safety of Canadians traveling abroad. Are there any additional concerns more than any other country?
Well, overall, I would say we still have to be cautious and mindful of infection risks to all countries. In terms of China, in a lot of ways, it's difficult to know exactly what's happening there because of the data that's coming out and the data that they actually release. And so what I would say is that overall, I view this as a positive development for China and for the rest of the world. But if you are traveling, I think you need to be cautious about protecting yourself and protecting yourself both against COVID and any other infections. And
how is this being viewed that travelers from China coming here, they still have to show a negative COVID test?
Yeah, I think that's still important in terms of the way we manage in here for Canada and manage our own borders. I think having that negative COVID test, irrespective of what your vaccination status is still a good option because the idea is that if that's really one point where you can stop infection coming into the country is at the border, and so I think it's still important, given what we know about what's happening in China, to have that restriction in place.
And what about the Canada-China bilateral relationship? Is this something that Canadians need to concern themselves with?
Well, I definitely think any relationship with China is an important one in terms of they're I think the second largest economy in the world. There's a lot of ties between China and Chinese communities here, and so I think that any improvement in the relationship has to be positive for Canada, and so yes, I think this is a very positive step moving forward. But based on what we know, I think it's still for both people coming into the country, but also people travelling out to be mindful and to maintain those protection measures and to be vaccinated as fully as possible.
And, trying to boost tourism, the government, they're offering, giveaways, free trips, free flights to Hong Kong. How does this all come together, especially with, applying for a visa to travel to these areas?
Yeah, well, I definitely think that, any incentive that helps people travel is positive from an economic perspective. If you're talking from a public health perspective, I would say that, individuals have to be still responsible and mindful of their own health and how are they protecting themselves, and just like any other time you're traveling to locations that might have sort of risks for sort of diarrheal diseases or other infections. I think you need to be mindful of what's happening in that country, whether or not it's China, other Asian countries, or through Africa, and because there's a lot of the world that still has very low vaccination rates in comparison to what we have here, and so that's always going to be something to consider. Is if you're going to go to another country, what are my health risks that I might be impacted by there, and make sure that you're protected as possible before you leave, and then when you're there to protect yourself as much as possible.
Thomas Tenkate, associate professor with the School of Occupational and Public Health at Toronto Metropolitan University. Thank you very much for speaking with us this afternoon.